coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
Holy crap! Holy crap!
Power of one, the power of two, the power of...
Down to Papa Roach, bleed 182!
The power of one, the power of two, the power of...
Damn you! Sutek gets filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Damn you, Sutek!
This show ain't no good.
Listen to what I'm saying, and you will understand, perhaps, what I'm trying to imply here.
That's very patronizing.
Yeah, I am being patronizing. I don't know who the you are, and you're over here chirping all the way from London about Palestine.
Stepping time!
Palestine.
Stepping time!
Palestine.
Stepping time! Stepping time! Come on, mighty!
Palestine.
Stepping time! Stepping time! Stepping time!
Palestine.
Never need a reason, never need a rhyme, and stepping time!
Palestine.
Get your knees up!
He's a smee. He's a smee. He's a smee. He's a smee. Hey.
If you're violating YouTube's terms of service, you're gonna get penalized. Cry me a mother river.
Cry me a river, I'm crashing like a blimp. The only people doing this are me and all my simps. I'm twerking in the chair, that's how I know I'm sick. Now visit me in jail and tell me I'm a fucking dick.
Yahoo!
We go!
Hell yeah.
La la la, la la la.
But it's a me! Mario!
Yeah, tell it to the judge.
Victimizers beware! The racist and bigots' greatest nightmares! Social justice warriors! Get triggered!
It's the bias response team.
If you've been offended, your feelings must be defended. The freedom of expression is a microaggression. Here comes Angela Freddy. He's always ready to fight fascism with fascism.
Starbucks windows don't stand a chance.
Ethic enhancer. He's a systematic racism finder. Using the powers of screaming and shame, they win every debate by calling your name. They're heroes who think that they're victims. Social justice warriors. Get triggered.
Engines roar through the ash gray skies. The wasteland burns, but hope won't die. Every screen's a twisted lie, built to break us, make us comply. They poison the heroes, rewrite the tales, turn legends to dust, leave us frail. But we're not done, we won't bow down. Through the wreckage, we'll take the crown.
Okay. All right. Hello. Can everybody hear me? Let me know in the chat what's going on. I'm trying something new today, and it should be working. We've got the overlays. We've got everything. It's one streaming service outputting to another streaming service. It's crazy. It's crazy. But hey, apparently everything is crazy at the moment. So it's been a time. It's been a time, ladies and gentlemen, and I will get into what the hell's been going on in just a few minutes. But before I get into all of that, straight out of hell, it's WILL. That's right. A higher class of human, a better type of bastard, and it's drive time somewhere, which means it's hyperdrive time everywhere. So ladies, gentlemen, and nothing in between, welcome back once again. I know it's been a while. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute since we did this show, and I'll explain why soon. I know a lot of you are already aware, but I'll fill in the blanks. But welcome once again to another voyage of discovery, racing through the wastes of the internet to the further reaches of sanity, on an apparently never-ending quest to rid the universe of absolute bollocks. Yes, I've changed things up a little bit. I brought in the regular video window because I don't have time to make videos, so I can use this to make videos, and that's basically a good way to do things. Streamlining, you know, good business sense. But of course, in the meantime, we have lots of things to talk about. Before we set off, please ensure your brains, of course, are inside the vehicle at all times with your eyeballs firmly screwed to the screen. And let's see who's here. We've obviously only got a few people because Smash JT is live at the same time, which I wasn't planning for. But then, hey, I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles. So Rick Grimes is here, says Coral. Man, that's an old meme at this point, but respect. Keeping it going. Good for you. Divine and Dragons here says blessings all. Yes, please. Some blessings would be nice. It's been rough. And I'll get into all of this in just a second or two, because obviously you guys know I've been away for a few days. I've missed some streams. There's been a lot going on. You know, I'm having a baby, and there's plenty of that I need to talk about. So we will get to that very soon, but it's been a little bit complicated. It's not been the easiest road. It's been a bit harrowing, actually, and we'll go right ahead and I'll explain what's going on. Cal 9000 here says hello to you as well. Brandon, the anime guy, excuse me, says, did I hear you now have a second weebling? Yes, that's true. Yeah, I do indeed have a second kid now. And actually, that's basically where we're going with this. Let me do some explaining because, where have I been? What's been going on? If you're not a member of the Discord, I fully recommend you join the Discord because I have, kind of crashed out actually a couple of times about it all there, but trying to keep it all right. Anyway, I will explain. Sardoc Spamfish is here as well. It says, hello, my smeggies. That's right, baby. We're doing Red Dwarf reviews, and it's been great. Actually, last few days in hospital, I've been listening to the Red Dwarf audio books read by Chris Barry, and they've been glorious. Lovely, wonderful escapism. Definitely a different story from the TV show, but there are a lot of things that are improved, actually, over the original first two series of the show. That much, at least, has been greatly improved. It gets a little off the rails later, but hey, it is what it is. Meanwhile, shout out to everyone who's a smeghead.
He's a smee. He's a smee. He's a smee. He's a smee. Hey.
I missed you guys. Yeah, it's been a bit of a weird couple of days. So basically, let me explain what's been going on. Thank you. My glamorous assistant just gave me some water. So basically, my wife gave birth on Monday, which was more or less the plan. It's a little early. There's a few complications, a couple of things that have happened as a result of having two babies in 2 years, which is pretty irresponsible on my part. So I'm not going to go ahead and try and shirk any of that. Right. Baby was born on Monday. but had respiratory issues. So she is still currently in the NICU or NICU, or the neonatal ICU, or intensive care unit, where she was unable to breathe properly by herself. She was breathing very, very quickly, like 90 breaths a minute, which is far more than the average person or even the average baby, but not really converting O2 to CO2 very well. Obviously, as her dad, I was terrified, and I've been through it a bit last couple of days. Exhausted too from running around trying to make sure everyone's got everything they want. At the same time, my wife's recovering from a C-section, so 2 patients in hospital, and also, of course, Princess of the Fans #1, who is already, you know, a year old and still very dependent. We had some help. Some of my wife's family are here. Some of them need to be in the hospital with her so I can go about and do my stuff. It's all logistics, you know. The good news that I can give is that as of about 12 hours ago or so, the last time I saw her, she had responded quite well to the antibiotics, very expensive antibiotics, and now is slowly taking back control from the pressure of the oxygen ventilator. So as far as I know, anyway, I'm going to go see her immediately after this. She's beautiful. She's wonderful. She's perfect in every way, just needs some help to breathe. This is very common with on-term 37-week or earlier C-section deliveries, which is what happened. So it's not out of the realm of normality for the hospital. Of course, the doctors are terrified of lawsuits, so they won't really tell you anything. You know, you ask them for a little reassurance, and they dare not give you it in case something happens. But so you know, I've been kind of losing my mind a little bit for a couple of days, and I'm sure you can understand why. My wife's been a complete stalwart, totally, absolutely calm and confident at every moment. But as a man, I think you guys probably know, it's very difficult when you are charged with the protection of all these people. And of course, let's not forget my poor old dad as well, still bedridden, still crippled, still waiting for surgery, which of course is why the fundraiser is there in the top left. You can see it. When you're trying to protect a family, when you're trying to protect people, and then the most vulnerable member of the family is in trouble, and it's your child, and I don't even want to know. Like, I don't want to say what's like in my mind, what's been in my mind. So a lot of you have been absolutely amazing, and I wanted to just say this one thing quickly before I move on to the actual news and topics of the day, which is that it's really only thanks to you guys and your incredible support of my father's fundraiser that I have still got some savings to be able to help my little girl. So pat yourselves on the back. You have no idea the difference you've all made to my life, and I can't thank you enough. Now that is enough of that. Okay, we have a lot of things to talk about. We've got a couple hours here. We're going to talk about a few topics before we get into it, but the whole game industry is melting at the moment. It is collapsing. We've got a little bit of Doctor Who stuff as well, and just sort of random bits and bobs, mostly Twitter links that are showing up at the moment. The games industry is in probably the biggest negative position that it's been in since 1983. And, well, at least all the games are digital now, so they won't need a landfill, but that's part of the problem. So we're going to talk about a lot of the stuff that's going on. I've been keeping up with the news, obviously, while I'm driving around, so we'll get into some of that. But of course, yeah, it's lovely to see all you guys. I appreciate you being here. If you are liking the stream, then please do like the stream. Basically, that's how it works. If you're here and you're watching and you're enjoying yourself and you appreciate what I'm doing here, then you know what to do.
Like the stream.
All right. Yes. And yes, I am aware that Kotaku has just been sold. We'll get to that. very shortly. But in the meantime, we're going to get into some topics. I appreciate you guys being here. If you are up for it, your in-flight entertainment can easily be unlocked by hitting the join button. Join the GRIFT force. You get all kinds of stuff. There's going to be a lot of member streams going on when we're trying to make a project of actually creating a game, even if it's just a simple game on RPG Maker. But it'll be kind of fun. I want to talk a little bit about that in this stream as well, because I've had a lot of time to sit around and think lately, and which is, you know, trying to think about anything except the obvious. Well, I've got some ideas. It'd be nice to go through a few of them. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or you just want to support the channel, or just need to pull over for a second because it all gets too nauseating for you, then please remember to tip your driver. And with all of that said, it's about time that we started getting into some topics. So we're going to go ahead and I'm just sort of adjusting to this new format here. But do feel free, drop supers, drop anything. I will be very happy to reply to them, respond to them, especially if you want to get involved in the project or talk about things like that. As we will be going, blood for the Chud God, help me fill the bar, and we'll have a wonderful day. And I'll be able to do more streams where we actually talk about the back end planning process of the project. So that will be interesting. Okay, well, we're here, and I'm just trying to work out what my layout is now, because I'm running two different streaming services at the same time, one feeding into the other, and I think there we go. Alrighty then. Excuse me. So, for the past 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, Doctor Who has been in an absolute shambolic state. Everybody knows this. We've been talking about it on this channel for a very, very, very long time now. And that is how it goes, basically. Doctor Who has gone from weakness to weakness, basically from taking a show that was slowly losing interest to absolutely guaranteeing that all interest is done with the show. They turned him into a woman. They turned him into a flamboyant, gay, black, narcissistic, psycho, and then regenerated him into Billy Piper as a desperation move when basically everybody who once loved the show had gone. The Truvians are finished with this, and no one is interested in watching Doctor Who anymore. And it turns out that the fans aren't the only people who are sick of it. Some actors have over the times criticized the show, and I thought it would be funny to just go over this and kind of reflect on it, because of course one of them is our boy, Mr. Eccleston. But Doctor Who in general is completely toasted. I'm having fights on Facebook now with random people who just can't handle the truth. I go in and say, why would you post this? The show's dead. And people are like, the show isn't dead, you just don't like it. I'm like, well, what was the one I got the other day? Oh yeah, Doctor Who isn't dead just because you don't like it, or if you don't like it, that doesn't mean the show is dead. And I replied, obviously, no, the show is dead because no one can finance it. And no one is interested in financing it. And no one is interested in making it. Every single person associated with it is trying to get as far away from it as possible. And that is exactly what happens when you try to sacrifice a decent property on the altar of wokeness, on the altar of agenda, on the altar of cultural Marxism. So let's have a look and see just exactly what is going on with Doctor Who. But more to the point, let's have some fun. And remember the times that the other actors criticized the hell out of this wretched show. All right, here we go. Every Doctor Who actor who publicly criticized the show and why. That's actually less than you'd think, but hey, it's a good thing. We can enjoy remembering the times that people have had no patience, no tolerance, and absolutely no reason to support something that they've once been a part of, which is something that we can relate to as fans, because supporting the things that we love is part of fandom. In fact, it's the biggest part of fandom. And when you have managed to successfully alienate your own audience so completely thoroughly that no one in the original fandom is even remotely interested in coming back to watch this shit show for any length of time, you know that it is FUBAR, and there's no two ways about that. But it's not always been the case that the fans were criticizing it, but the Doctor actors have been criticizing it for a long time, and well, they actually had some really solid complaints, because the BBC is cheap. The BBC is extremely cheap. The BBC is so cheap and so penny pinching and money hungry that they actually blocked my last Sunday stream where we began our review of Red Dwarf because I silently played a few too many consecutive frames of the show. Well, I'll be downloading that and re-uploading that very, very soon. But in the meantime, here's the article. Every Doctor Who actor who publicly criticized the show and why. From the OG era to the Russell T Davies revival to the current generation, many Doctor Who actors who have had issues with the direction of the show. Yep, these are the big two. Obviously, we've seen a lot of this stuff come out over the last few months. We've had, obviously, years of this actually criticism from people like Christopher Eccleston and Peter Davidson, but they're not the only ones, just the ones who are still doing it. And good for them. Anyway, Doctor Who is one of the most popular franchises in the sci-fi genre, but it too is not shielded from criticism. Now that is absolutely flagrant libel, because Doctor Who has never been one of the most popular franchises in the sci-fi genre, unless you mean cult status. It's never been the biggest sci-fi franchise. It's never hit levels of Star Trek or Star Wars or anything like that. But it has been beloved by its pocket of fandom. And so I suppose you could argue that. But in the meantime, then, it's not shielded from criticism. Well, yeah, because the fans of Doctor Who absolutely have standards and are not remotely interested in watching something that they love go down the pan. Never have been, never will be. That's all there is to that. The series has often been the center of controversy, be it for the general direction of the franchise or its messaging. Well, at least they can admit it. From the first Doctor back in the 60s, Doctor Who has fielded questions on how it is branded as a children's show. However, criticism from fans and the general audience is one thing, but when it comes from the actors themselves, it becomes all the more scandalous. Well, of course it does. That's exactly what happens when you suddenly realize the thing you're working on is not as great as you thought it was. And especially when you are an actor on the show and you know the inner workings of the show, then yeah, they're going to have a lot to say. Many stars from the franchise have expressed their love for the show, with stars like David Tennant and Matt Smith defending it through all its iterations. Matt Smith is a careful lad these days. He doesn't necessarily, just unbiasedly and unabashedly tout the show. He loves talking about his time on the show, and his time on the show was a glorious time on the show. David Tennant, on the other hand, is an absolute leftist muppet, a shill for any particular progressive ideology that he can get his grubby little fingers wrapped around. That's why he was okay with getting, chatted shit to by a couple of women, one of whom is a man, in his most recent run of the Doctor. That's the reason why he's okay with his Doctor coming back and being gay for a race-swapped Isaac Newton. It's the reason he's okay being called Honey by Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor the second that he regenerated out of him. It's the reason he's okay with being knocked around by a hacky sack thrown by a much younger and different raced man who exposes him as this weaker, older Doctor guy. And yeah, look, to be honest, there aren't many Doctor Who fans left who wouldn't want to have a big row with David Tennant. Just putting it politely, let's just say there's not many people who wouldn't want to fight him in Minecraft, So there's that. However, some actors have called out the way the show functions behind the scenes as well as its creative direction in the past. Here are the actors who have publicly criticized Doctor Who. Doctor Who's Tom Baker did not like a producer's approach to the show. Now, Tom Baker has always been a very outspoken dude. He has always held to what he believes in, and that's one of the reasons that he has endured as the most beloved Doctor of all time. That and the fact that he played the role longer than anybody else. So there's that too. Anyway, Tom Baker played the fourth Doctor in the original run of Doctor Who, was the longest serving incarnation of the character from the franchise. Played the part for 7 years, serving from 1974 to 1981, and his look with the trench coat, scarf, and hair is iconic for the Doctor in pop culture. Just to cement that point, if anyone's interested, I wasn't even born when he regenerated into Peter Davidson. So the fact that he's still one of the faces that everybody thinks of when you say Doctor Who, especially in America and places like that, yeah, not a big surprise. Not a massive surprise at all that he is still, iconic, even though it's so long ago that many of us weren't even born when he was the Doctor. However, and here's where it gets good. Baker left the series after 7 seasons despite raking in huge audience viewership. In one way, it was good for the actor as he had played the part for so long, but he was also at the height of his career. Years later, in a DVD commentary, Baker revealed the actual reason for his departure from the show. He mentioned that he disagreed with the approach of producer John Nathan Turner, who joined the show in his final season. Baker said, "I didn't like his approach to anything very much. His approach as a producer, to the scripts, to my performance, he managed somehow, how terrible, to diminish me. He made assumptions about how I should do things, or what lines meant, or how it should be shot, which diminished me, and I found that unbearable." Now, you might say from one standpoint that that's the ego of a major actor, or you might say, in fact, that he's completely correct. And this is around about the time that the BBC started to micromanage everything, started to try to control everything, started pushing narratives, started getting really, really left-wing. And has resulted, as is always the way, in what we are dealing with now, where the BBC is one of the worst companies in the world who does not deserve to be funded by the taxpayer and should just basically piss off and get in the sea. But, hey, it began somewhere. And Tom Baker was clearly aware of it. He criticized the final season of his run, stating that Nathan Turner introduced too many supporting characters and the stories largely relied on the Doctor to work, which he felt was not in line with the show's philosophy. He also stated that he stayed on for a season too long. Maybe. Yeah, it definitely wasn't the same show when he regenerated as it was before. And it only went downhill from there, frankly. Now, we've, of course, come to the main event, which is Christopher Eccleston. This man does not give a shit. He will tell you exactly how he feels and why and how and what he wants. And a lot of people would still love to see Christopher Eccleston come back as the Doctor. I don't think it's going to happen ever because, frankly, the show doesn't really exist anymore. Now that it's finished with Ncuti Gatwa, there'd be less reason than ever for Eccleston to come back. Plus, he's done Big Finish stuff, so that's something. That's something. But he does say here, of course, and let's go through it and remind ourselves and have some fun, that Christopher Eccleston played the 9th Doctor, the first one after Russell T Davies revived the show in 2005, while most loved the 10th Doctor, played by David Tennant. Yeah, I really used to. But again, David Tennant is a progressive, ideologically driven activist piece of trash now who wants to fight us. Dude, you are stick thin. You have no chance. But go ahead and threaten us anyway. His predecessor, Eccleston, lasted only 1 season, but has his own fans. See, I don't like the phrasing of that. When they say things like he only lasted 1 season, but he has his own fans. Yeah, maybe. But it's not that he lasted 1 season. He walked out because from what he has told us, everybody was taking credit for the success of the show, even though the success of the show was all to do with him, and that the actual running of the show was a complete and total, pardon the pun, shit show. So there's that too. Eccleston, however, criticized the entire creative team of Doctor Who and said that he would return if members like Davis and producers Julie Gardner, Phil Collinson, and Jane Tranter were fired from their roles. All 3 of them were part of the series till Matt Smith's iteration of the Doctor when Stephen Moffat took over as the showrunner. Yeah, and they still work with Russell T Davies at Bad Wolf, which is why the last season of the show has been so woke. Well, 2 seasons. And the specials before it. Eccleston mentioned that he did not like how the trio ran things on set and criticized the treatment of the crew by the producers. He said via Den of Geek, "I left because my relationship with the showrunner and the producer broke down. I left because of the politics of the show." Oh. So it's always been like this? I left only because of those 3 individuals and the way that they were running the show. I loved playing the character and I loved the world. I felt I'm going to play the Doctor my way and I'm not going to get involved in these politics, and that wasn't workable. So off I went and became this invisible man. Eccleston mentioned the day that he was asked to return for the 50th anniversary episode, The Day of the Doctor, but he was not happy with the script, which he felt was just him, Matt Smith, and David Tennant talking about their runs as the Doctor. Probably would have been, yeah. Patrick Troughton hated the grueling production schedule of the show. That's not a surprise. After the first Doctor, William Hartnell left the series due to health concerns and was replaced by Patrick Troughton, a character actor before playing the Doctor. Troughton is best known for giving the character his comedic undertones and for giving a childlike tonality to the show. He was a favorite of the production staff and the studio. However, Troughton was known as a character actor, and the lead role in Doctor Who and its demands limited his exposure to other characters. He had a grueling production schedule of filming 40 to 42 episodes a year, which he reportedly felt was too much to handle at the time. He played the character from 66 to 69, nice, and was replaced by Pertwee. He also mentioned his decision to leave was due to his fear of being typecast. And although he liked to satisfy his American fans by returning in specials like The Five Doctors, he did not want to be typecast. Said yes, but too often. Not too often. I love doing it for the benefit of the American fans because I'm not working over there as a general matter. You know, it doesn't type me. It doesn't inhibit the parts I play over here. But over back in England, it's a mistake for any character actor to become associated with one part too much. You know, you're stymied. Very interesting. And of course, now we have Peter Davidson, who has recently criticized the absolute ever-loving shit out of the current iteration of the show and its narrative direction. And he's absolutely right to have done this, by the way. Absolutely right. Says Peter Davidson was the Doctor right after the legendary Tom Baker and played the part for 2 years. He attributed his exit to just his contract expiring and choosing to move on, which later said he regretted. However, he now has some scandalous things to say about the latest episodes of Doctor Who with Ncuti Gatwa. Well, to be fair, the scandal isn't really about the show. The scandal is about... Sorry, the scandal isn't him. The scandal is about the show, is what I'm trying to say. Gatwa, who played the 15th Doctor, is the first black actor to bag the role. Oh, wonderful. The firstest ever. Except for Joe Martin, of course. Yeah. What are you going to say now? I mean, he's not the first, is he? Obviously not. Obviously not the first black guy to play the Doctor. Well, black guy, maybe, yeah. Certainly the first openly gay black guy. But do you know what doesn't matter? Whether or not you're the first to do anything really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It's what you do and how you do it that matters. And Ncuti Gatwa has been a mincing, flouncing, insufferable, pain in the ass puff for 2 seasons, calling everybody honey, calling everybody babes, crying in every episode, being cruel, being cowardly, torturing people. Not the Doctor. Not the Doctor, and not remotely awesome. But he is likely to have left it as the 2nd season saw him regenerate into Billie Piper, who played Rose in Christopher Eccleston's iteration. Oh, the desperation is palpable. Piper is touted to be the 16th Doctor in the future. That's interesting. I would like to see some citations of that because I don't believe that that's actually true at all. No one has confirmed that she is the 16th Doctor. In fact, there was speculation from within the show that she may not be the 16th Doctor. So I don't know where you're getting your information from, but it certainly isn't actually accurate. But Davidson recently criticized the narrative structure of the latest episodes, claiming that none of the narratives were whole and all of them felt like watching a trailer. Davidson said, "It's like watching a trailer for a Doctor Who show you'd like to watch later. There are huge gaps in the narrative." Now this, of course, is everything that I've been saying the whole way through reviewing this show. It's not just about being woke. It's not just about the cultural Marxism. It's not just about the progressive ideology or the ham-fisted messaging, although those things are huge, colossal problems. It's also about the gigantic gaps in the narrative. Huge plot holes, paradoxes, all kinds of stuff like that are insufferable. The total bastardization of the character of the Doctor. All totally awful. He says they're just leaping over onto the next bit and hoping your brain fills in the rest. And this is wonderful to hear from somebody like Davidson, because this is the criticisms that we've been lobbying and leveling at the show for literally years now. I used to have this argument with people while we were reviewing the last 2 series of Doctor Who on Who TF Cares, or formerly Who TF Live, and I would say, stop writing the script for them. Stop doing them a favor. They haven't put it in the script. It's not canon. You're filling in the blanks. Your head canon is not canon. It can't be. It's too granular. Everybody's is different. If they have left a gap in the plot that you are filling in from inference or whatever, That's fine. You do that, but don't tell me that's the plot. The plot is what we see, and only what we see. Gatwa's tenure has been controversial for many reasons, especially with Russell T Davies returning as showrunner. However, Davidson's comments are more in criticism of the writing and presentation than any other cultural controversies that the latest episodes have had with fans. And it's good to see it. It's really good to see it. This is what you want to see, because at the end of the day, Doctor Who is a show that is supposed to be steeped in science, narrative consistency, and internal logic. At the end of the day, if you can't provide a script that actually tells the story without the audience having to fill in the blanks, then you are a failure as a writer. And that is all I've got to say about that. So there we go. That's it. At the end of the day, Doctor Who's felted and everything's going tits up. But there we are. Now, we've got some other news that's come out, and I'm going to end up having to do about an hour show today because instead of 2 hours, because I've actually got to get going and go see little kid at the hospital, of course. So if you have anything you particularly want to say, I would appreciate it. But of course, we'll be back for WTF Live a bit later on as well, in about 13 hours from now, actually. But yeah, so we've got this info that is suggesting that Kotaku has, in fact, been sold. And for some reason, my link isn't working. So just give me a second here. And I will find... Okay. This will do. This will do quite nicely. Yes. Why not? All right. Hold on a second. Just let me make sure that this is all correct. And that I'm not going to get kicked out of the article. No. All right. We're good. Okay. So, Kotaku has been sold. I mean, I don't know why anyone's surprised by this. This was something that was always going to happen. Eventually, Geo Media was going to have had enough of this wretched little website full of its wretched little activists. Don't forget, this site gave a job to Alyssa Mercante, who's one of the most cancerous people in the whole of gaming at the moment. So it's not remotely surprising that they finally had enough, especially after they commanded them to change from their obvious political activism disguised as games journalism and turn it into a game guide website, which probably would have made them a lot more money. But they refused. The staff refused. They didn't want to have anything to do with it. They weren't interested. They just wanted to continue with their activism. And so Geo Media, as it turns out, seems to have finally had enough. So let's get into it. All right, let's have a look here. So, Geo Media winds down. This is from the New York Times, by the way, by selling Kotaku one of its last sites. I feel bad for Geo Media in a certain way, because I know that they don't particularly want all this crap, but they also own websites like Gizmodo. So they aren't exactly doing their bit to rid the universe of cringe, embarrassment, and terrible activism that we can't stand. Way, just in time. Thank you very much. I will get right to that after this. With the sale of Kotaku, a video game site, to the European publisher Layoffs, all but one website remains at Geo Media, which is shutting down. Oh dear. So Geo Media is winding down. They're shutting down themselves. You bought all these websites, all these woke websites like Gizmodo and Kotaku, etc., etc. And what have you gained from all of this? Literally nothing. It's pathetic. Anyway, Geo Media, the digital media publisher that once owned sites like Jezebel, oh god, that was another one that Mercante wrote for, and Deadspin, announced on Wednesday that it was winding down its operations and selling off one of its last properties, the video game website Kotaku. I wish I had a lighter around here or something so I could light, like a candle for Kotaku and then blow it out, but I guess I can't. Geo Media, which is owned by private equity firm Great Hill Partners, once owned a collection of websites that had belonged to the Gawker media blog universe and The Onion. but it has slowly been shedding its holdings. With the sale of Kotaku, only one website remains, The Root, which covers black culture and news. So I guess forget everything I said about Geo Media. Apparently they are just woke. In which case I have no sympathy for them. Geo Media's chief executive Jim Spanfeller, a name I've heard before, being talked about like he's some sort of piece of garbage by a certain journo trash bitch who won't be named, said in a statement on Wednesday that it became clear to our investors that it was time to move on. Yeah, I'll say it's pretty clear that it is time to move on, alluding to a series of challenges that the digital media industry has faced in recent years. Publishers have been battling for advertising against tech giants like Google and Meta, while generative AI is reshaping the media landscape. That's not why. That's not why. Stop lying to us. We know why this has happened. It's obvious why this has happened. This has happened because Kotaku is one of the wokest websites in the world, and woke has been singularly proven. It's 2025 now, you stupid bastards. No one likes your ideology. Okay, when are you going to get this into your thick skulls? The whole industry is collapsing at the moment. The whole games industry is collapsing under the weight of middle management bloat and woke ideology. And you keep going like woke in quotes, like it doesn't exist. Whatever. It doesn't matter what you think, because at the end of the day, we'll see you on the scrap heap, won't we? Yes, we will. So deal with that. Investors don't see a promise of growth in digital publishing the way they did before the pandemic. Mr. Spanfeller was quick to say that Great Hill had been a very good partner and had never weighed in on editorial direction. Well, perhaps they bloody should have. Perhaps if they had weighed in on editorial direction to try and actually make some bloody money, the websites wouldn't be getting sold now. They wouldn't be crashing and burning. The industry wouldn't be crashing and burning, and Gamergate 2 would never have happened. Deal with it. This is in no way a suggestion that Great Hill was in some way acting like a rapacious private equity firm, he said. In April, Geo Media sold the business news site Quartz and the inventory to commerce site to Redbrick, a Canadian software company. Oh, God. Canada. Ugh. Duh. As long as it's not Montreal, probably is. In recent years, it also sold off Jalopnik, The Onion, Jezebel, Lifehacker, Deadspin, and the AV Club. They are all rubbish. They are all felted. They are all incapable of actually being journalism anymore, apart from The Onion, of course, which was a parody site, but it's a parody site that went woke. So it's not a good parody if it's going woke, because woke doesn't have a sense of humor. Mr. Spanfeller said that he was still working to find a buyer for the Root, but the Geo Media will exit having increased shareholder value. Mr. Spanfeller, who was frequently at odds with the staff at his publications, yes, we saw that, didn't we? In a number of ways, unions have added value to editorial employees' positions during a time of major change, he wrote, but in many more ways, the core methods that unions work with, or rather against companies working hard to change with the times, is counterproductive to both their membership as well as the companies as a whole. Oh no, what's that? Socialism is shit? Oh, who could have possibly seen that coming? Couldn't tell you. Layoffs, a European tech media company, bought Kotaku in an all-cash deal. Oh, fuck. Cuz that is broken. You're buying Kotaku for cash? How low did it go? Oh, well. Layoffs' chief executive, Jean-Guillaume Claes, said he chose to disclose the financial details. He declined, to disclose the financial details of the sale. The company, which is based in Switzerland, bought the tech site Gizmodo from Geo Media last year. So they bought the wokest site after they bought the second wokest site. All right, cool, great, fine, have fun, enjoy, do what you got to do. It's not going to help, but hey, maybe it will help Layoffs to implode as well. So good news. Good news, everyone. We want to build an international media group that is focusing on tech in a very broad sense, and gaming is, I would say, a natural part of that universe. Mr. Clay said in an interview. Kotaku was founded in 2004 as part of what was Gawker Media. Oh dear, and was acquired by Geo Media in 2019. Mr. Clay said that he had agreed to keep Kotaku's entire staff as part of the deal. Oh man, imagine if you just not supported a terrorist sympathizer, Alyssa. Maybe you'd still have a job. Apparently these guys aren't interested in trying to fix Kotaku. They just want to own it for some reason. I can't imagine why you would want to buy a cancerous, odious turd of a website like Kotaku. No idea at all. It's like effectively buying a house with a bomb in the roof. Like, you are in big trouble. But hey, there it is. As the company did with the Gizmodo acquisition, and Kellyups did not have any plans in the short run to make changes to its content. They have an iconic and very different voice in gaming industry. Oh, you fucking liars. You liars. You lying bloody liars. Kotaku has the same voice as every other stupid left-wing journalist outlet in the whole of gaming. There's nothing. They don't have a different voice. They don't even really have a voice anymore because no one cares what Kotaku thinks about anything. It says, and this is extremely important to keep for our loyal readers over the past 20 years, and we'll try to make it even better. How? How, buddy? How are you going to do that? How are you going to get around to that? He said that the purchase of Gizmodo in June 2024 had gone smoothly, and the company would soon introduce a new version of the site. He said Kellyups had doubted the audience of Gizmodo, doubled the audience of, I'm the one doubting it, in the United States in the last year and quadrupled it globally. Okay, well, I wonder how you're doing that. According to ComScore data from May, Gizmodo had 8 million unique visitors in the United States and 15 million from the rest of the world. Do you know who they are? Do you know who visits Gizmodo? I do. And people like me, we do. We go to these websites to find news articles to rip on and to contradict because they are, of course, all massively biased and borderline useless. But hey, if Kellyups wants to buy Kotaku, who am I to stop them? I'm not your dad, Kellyups. If you want to blow money on worthless trash that's going to ultimately break your bank balance, that's up to you. But don't come crying to me when Kotaku has cost you hundreds of millions of dollars and you have to sell it again. That's all there is to say about that. But there we go. All right, guys, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you in the chat at the moment. What's going on? I saw Justin Time with a super chat, $5. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.
Drop it.
Says Will, long time no see. Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it, buddy? Appreciate you being here. How's your dad? Still bedridden, still broken hip, still slightly deranged from the seizure he had. Has taken to calling random people in England when he can't get hold of me now, which has been kind of difficult to deal with because I have been so busy because of baby being born and now being in the NICU. But you know, things little by little, they'll get better. They'll get better. I'm busting my ass. It's just time now to get back to work, which is why I'm here talking to you guys, because I've been frustrated as all hell lately with how little I've been able to do on the channel. Slowly, as the dust starts to settle, which it will soon, I feel pretty good about that right now anyway. In the next week or so, I'm going to get back to the actual schedule. I'm going to get back to streaming every day. I'm going to get back to doing gaming streams. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the gaming project, which I might do as a separate stream now. It was going to be the second hour of the stream, but I'm going to have to dip a little early because I've got to go to the hospital. Yeah, so kid was born with respiratory infection. Yeah, I see you asked her about the child in the hospital. If it's too sensitive, sorry, I'm praying for your family, brother. I appreciate you, man. I really do. That's lovely. And I do appreciate all the people who've reached out with the thoughts and prayers and stuff like that. It really does actually help. Because even though I'm not a religious person, you would not believe the amount of times I have prayed in the last 3 days. They do seem to be getting answered, though, if there is such a thing. Because little girl is responding to the medication. The need for oxygen pressure in the ventilator is dropping. I'm kind of hoping it will have dropped another couple of points by the time I get there in an hour or so. And, well, we'll go from there. But in the meantime, wifey's back. She's recovered from the C-section 2 days early, and she's back in the house now, which is lovely. It's the reason I was able to do this stream. And, yeah, we're getting there slowly. And thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat, guys. We're going to have this bar on all day, and we'll be back in time for WTF Live later on as well. Like I say, I was absolutely planning to do an extended version of this with the graphics tablet and plot out some ideas that I've been having for game that we're going to make. So that hopefully will begin to pick up, because I got a lot of ideas, but it does turn out that I need to get out of here a little early today. So apologies for that. But before we do that, let's talk about a couple other things, because, well, it appears that the games industry is completely and totally destroying itself at the moment. Almost every single company that has been producing video games over the last few years, or consoles or everything, is felted. There are mass layoffs everywhere, especially localized around Microsoft and Xbox. And while it is terrible when people get laid off, you really got to ask who the people are that are getting laid off, because this isn't looking so much like a complete and total loss for Microsoft or Xbox. In fact, in many ways, it's starting to look like it might be the best possible thing that they could be doing to ensure the future of themselves in the game industry. A lot of people have learned from Elon Musk when he bought X and sacked 80% of the Twitter staff, and the website ran better. Turns out when you get rid of layers and layers of pointless middle management and woke activists, your company runs better. So let's take a look at what's going on. So, yeah, we are here, and we can see this. This one comes from Jeff Keighley. I didn't expect this to come from Jeff Keighley. Jeff Keighley is totally a shill. He's Mr. Game Awards and very often sucks up to these companies. But, well, we've got a lot to go through. So let's just get into it. It's a complete and total bloodbath of the games industry. And personally, I am here for it. Normally, I'm very sympathetic to people getting laid off. But when it turns out the kind of people that are getting laid off and the kinds of games that are getting cancelled, well, I just don't feel too bad about that. Anyway, according to Variety, Microsoft is cutting approximately 9,000 jobs today across the entire company, including some Xbox gaming division. 9,000 people.
What? What the fuck?
It's crazy. It's crazy. So this is where we're at. And obviously it doesn't look that good, but it doesn't really seem to be bothering that many people. The amount of people in the replies that have no empathy towards the workers is disappointing. Says not a million prompts. But the thing is, though, this is the thing. And I've had this discussion with Hypno and other people like that before, where I'm like, oh, that sucks. People getting laid off, harmless devs who don't really subscribe to this activism. But, well, let's have a look at the other half. Here's the quote from Phil Spencer. To position gaming for enduring success and allow us to focus on strategic growth areas, we will end/decrease work in certain areas of the business and follow Microsoft's lead in removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness. Now that is vital to this whole thing. The narrative will be, oh, people are getting laid off. Oh no. Oh no. But the reality here is who's getting fired? Management. Now that's what I'm talking about. Let's get rid of some fucking pointless managers. That's exactly the kind of people you need to be getting rid of. They don't do anything. You have like 17 people running the social media or supervising character designs and creation. It's all done by committee, and they're all so tediously woke. Get rid of them. Trim the fat. There's nothing wrong with it. They are qualified for nothing. They made the wrong decisions. See you at McDonald's. Put the fries in the bag. I don't care. Move with the times. Understand the culture. Shut the fuck up about DEI and race swaps and gender swaps, and stop all of that stuff. But the point that's really interesting here is increase agility and effectiveness. These companies are having a reckoning right now. Okay. Elon Musk walks into X, fires 80%. Everything works better. Everything works better. Hilarious, isn't it? It's ridiculous that works. What else? Well, let's see how many massive bloated AAA companies, quadruple A companies and games like Ubisoft and Bungie and people like that have got screwed lately by releasing games, especially things like Obsidian, Bethesda, getting felted by the bloat, by all these pointless middle managing wankers. Funny, isn't it? We're learning the lessons that my mother knew were true in the 1990s when she was like, oh, we've got a new HR manager. And I was like, what's HR? She's like, they used to call it personnel. Oh, what's she like? She's like, she's a bitch. Oh, okay. What does she do? Nothing. Oh, okay. Yeah. And you know what happened? It just made everybody's jobs harder because they had to go through these pointless check mark things where they need to get everything okayed before they can finish what they're doing and move on to the next thing. Why? Don't know. How about you just trust your bloody employees to do the things that they want to do and want to do well to further their own careers and do a good job, and everything tends to work out without some douchebag postgraduate blue-haired Karen telling them whether or not they're okay or whether the tone of their timbre is okay. Fuck these people. We don't need them. They are qualified for nothing except telling people how to think. Except no one wants to be told how to think, so get in the sea. Meanwhile, what's happening? Left, right, and center. Schedule 1 comes out, made by one guy, does really well. Expedition 33. What's the lesson from that? Very little management. Kepler Interactive tells them they can have their creative freedom. Result, best game of not even just a generation, a genre redefining masterpiece. Something that changes people's lives. This game is on the pantheon for me, up there with the greatest Final Fantasies and Zeldas I've ever played in my life. No question of it. And how many people made it? Apart from, of course, the animators and stuff that they outsourced to Korea, because of course they did. How many people responsible for this game being what this game is? 30 people. Result, 3.3 million sales in 33 days. From a budget reportedly lower than, what was that fucking game? I can't think, the parkour game from the PS3 era. I can't remember what it is, with the Chinese girl on the cover, whatever that was. Apparently, the budget for Expedition 33 was lower than that. Damn. That is embarrassing. So yeah, increase agility and effectiveness. Mirror's Edge, that's the one. Thank you. Yes, Mirror's Edge costs more money, apparently, allegedly, than Expedition 33. Okay. And so what happens? Why do things cost this much? Because you're paying out to pointless box-ticking bitches in corporate management who don't need to be there and contribute nothing of value. It's glorious. So if all these people are getting sacked, too bad, baby. No one cares. There's a lot of people out here who are trying to be really, really nice about it, but it's not going to work. I mean, we're looking at what happened with Halo recently. We'll get to that in a minute. It's really funny because a lot of people are trying to act like it's really bad that these people lose their jobs. But when their jobs were worthless anyway, it's the industry that's made the mistakes, not us. Deal with it at the end of the day. Just deal with it. And we're going to get to this one in a minute too. Jay Viper, don't know if you're still here, was absolutely correct when he wrote this. Why are people surprised or angry about the Microsoft layoffs? We've been trying to save this company and others, gaming as a whole. Yes, gamers like me, like Jay, like Hypno Smash, like Leon, like Ryan, like Problematic John, like everybody we stream with, we've all been trying to save this fucking industry by telling them simply what we want. What do you think is all this fuss about stop killing games with pirate software? Completely misunderstanding the point of view of the customers, not consumers. So there we go. There it is. We have been trying to save this company and others, gaming as a whole. We've been telling them what gamers want and what they should be focusing on. Yeah, it's not even that difficult. Instead, thanks to journalists and mentally captured non-gamers gassing them up, they continue to double down on DEI, pride, and uglifying gaming, providing sloppy renditions of RPGs, racers, and pretty much everything they do. We told you, we told them, get back to gaming, get back to the fun in games, stop with the politics and ideology, and focus once again on making badass men and women in games with incredible stories. I know. Revolutionary thinking, right? No, actually. Common sense. Common sense from 20 years ago. And before it. Not even difficult. But he's right. Or don't and wither on the vine, because the ones you keep bending the knee for are the ones killing you. Well said, Jay Viper. Absolutely brilliant line there. Very well said indeed. He also points out that Bethesda is also experiencing layoffs today. A she-they goes down. Whatever that is. Oh no, what's that? An activist is now suddenly looking for work with pride flags in the bio and she-they pronouns. Oh, you'll excuse me if I don't cry too many tears, as you are part of the problem. Autumn Rose Taylor at Lusterly. And there it is. So I decided to ask Grok exactly how many people have been or have been announced to be laid off from Xbox and Microsoft in 2025, with sources, of course. In 2025, Microsoft announced significant layoffs affecting its workforce, including its Xbox gaming division. Based on available reports, here's a breakdown of layoffs. July 2025 layoffs, that's right now. 9,000 people, about 4% of total workforce, around 228,000. Multiple divisions. Xbox, specific numbers for Xbox are not fully detailed. ZeniMax, Raven Software, Sledgehammer Games, projects like Everwild, Perfect Dark, and ZeniMax Online Studios MMORPG were cancelled. In May 2025, 2 months ago, 6,000 layoffs. I made a video about it. Maybe you remember it. 3% of its workforce. 6 months ago, January 2025 layoffs, unspecified number of layoffs targeting underperforming employees. June last year, a year ago from now, 300 plus jobs. Combine them together, Microsoft has laid off 15,300 employees at least. At least. In the last year alone. That is, I mean, that's what you get, isn't it? That's what happens when you fill your company with fools. Fools, charlatans, and liars. There you go.
Nice.
Anyway, to the point then. Perfect Dark reboot. Now, this one was, of course, infamous for Joanna Dark's appearance being changed from a sexy femme fatale to, in the mid-2000s, kind of a slightly emo-ish, curvy waifu type. I don't know. But she was clearly originally based on someone like Lara Croft, if you look at the original and the more recent iteration of Joanna Dark. And then we've got this latest iteration of Joanna Dark, who looks like she is a member of the fucking Ron Weasley family. Like the eldest brother, except tougher. The forgotten Weasley. What was the point of trying to do this? I've been complaining about this for 2 or 3 years now. Beautiful women are gone from games. What happens when you have a beautiful woman in a game like Eve? Everyone goes, oh no, you can't have that. You shouldn't be looking at beautiful women. Why don't you try gooning to your fucking fridge instead? I'm looking at you, date everything. My God. It's only a matter of time until we find out a leftist was crushed to death by a fridge. Oh, well. But anyway, if you're that dumb. But yeah, so it turns out that this, which was quite a high-profile project and no one liked it, has been cancelled. That's right. This isn't just like some random little game. This is a legacy franchise creation that has been cancelled. Just boom, cancelled. You know why? Because Ugly Joe Dog. No one wanted it. No one was interested. Totally ridiculous. It comes from That Park Place. There you go. You can see the image. This does not look like a woman. This looks like a surly teenage boy. Perfect Dark level designer. This was a while ago, by the way, like last December. These are the kind of people that were making this game, this now cancelled game. The level designer who decided to claim that gamers were a mistake. Fucking hell, man. Colby Payne, a level designer on the upcoming cancelled reboot of Perfect Dark, has a lot to say about the people who might purchase the game. Designer's long-standing hatred of the very people that keep him employed was exposed by John Trent of Fandom Pulse in a recent article. That was, of course, before Goonagate happened. But there you go. Yeah, he called everybody racist pigs. The fact that it's 2021, he says, and gamers still get mad over a character being black just boggles my mind. It's time to grow up, you racist pigs. Well, you see, here's where you've failed to understand. And I don't know if you're just brainwashed and can't see the forest for the trees, or if you're just deliberately doing this to try and further the narrative. But the reality is we don't actually have a problem with people of any color whatsoever. I've done my part to try and dissuade my family from believing that white is better than brown, because that's the way it is in Philippines. And I tell them, nah, man. If that's the case, why'd I marry my wife? We're not racist, you fucking moron. We are anti-political propaganda. We are anti-cultural Marxism, aka wokeness. As long as you keep turning identity groups into classes and trying to pit them against each other, I'm going to be here to tell you to go fuck yourself. Fact. And a lot of other people are too. Anyway, Colby Payne is a moron, and it just keeps getting worse. J Viper has another one here. I didn't know about this. This is worth a video of its own, but we'll get to that. Neil Cuckman. Neil Cuckman. The man who took Naughty Dog, shoved it up his ass, puked it out his mouth, and painted it rainbow colors for everybody to get disgusted by, has stepped away from The Last of Us on HBO. This is madness. He's right. Today has been insane in gaming news. This is big. Neil Cuckman hasn't given a fuck about games for years. He clearly wants to go work in Hollywood. And the backlash to The Last of Us Series 2 on HBO, which of course is derivative of the backlash to The Last of Us Part 2 on PlayStation. I mean, he now has had to step away from his goal. He threw the property under the bus to try and get it on TV. And now he's not even able to work on it anymore. Says, we wanted to let you know that studio head Neil Cuckman delivered the following message to our team this morning. I've made the difficult decision to step away from my creative involvement with The Last of Us on HBO. With work completed on season 2 and before any meaningful work starts on season 3, now is the right time for me to transition my complete focus to Naughty Dog and its future projects, including writing and directing our next exciting game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, which is dead on arrival. I wouldn't be remotely surprised if by the end of the year that game is cancelled. I don't think it will be, though, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. That game looks terrible. That game looks cringe beyond all belief. With the people working on it, with Erika Ishii voicing the baldy, Asian-looking, surly bitch of a main character, a typical Neil Cuckman female archetype, game's fucked. It's felted. It's done. Co-creating the show has been a career highlight. It's been an honor to work alongside Craig Mazin to executive produce, direct, and write on the last 2 series. I'm deeply thankful for the thoughtful approach and dedication the talented cast and crew took to adapting The Last of Us Part 1 and the continued adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2. HBO doesn't want any more of this. They'll probably cancel the show. Let's not be fucking beating about the bush here. The show is trash. No one likes it. Everyone's mad. The people who ignored the game series, they saw Pedro Pascal. I hate Pedro Pascal, by the way. Get in the sea. Get his head caved in with a golf club. And they had the same exact visceral reaction gamers had when Joel originally got his head caved in by a golf club by Big Papa Pump Abby. And at the end of the day, if two different groups of people who are unconnected to each other have the same viscerally negative reaction to your writing, you're a failed writer. It's been quite the day for the Chuds. J Viper is right. That's why I called the bar Blood for the Chud God. But we'll get to that later. This is just an early one. July is Disability Pride Month, says Halo. Oh, no. Why has this guy got like a bell end on the top of his head? I don't get it. Oh, wait, he's got a slanted visor too. A slanted visor for disability. I just noticed that now. That's appalling. Oh, no. It's like, because the eyes go down. Oh, no. Oh, no. But, of course, they blocked the replies because that's what they do. So people took to another post that they posted after that to get their revenge on the social media managers over a Halo. This is about a book that's coming out. I think Cryptum or whatever. No one cares. And what do we got? Gigabear says, if I knew Master Chief was going to be used to push radical leftist ideologies, I'd have let the flood take over. We got right, the hard science fiction guy who specializes in parallel universes, time travel wars, and the human race goes extinct, if I remember correctly. Gender swapping tech, also the guy that resurrected Guilty Spark and failed to resurrect Miranda, Jacob, and Avery. Too bad Halo lore is cooked now. This guy, me and my homies when it's time to play some Halo. Activist retards have taken over the studio. I mean, I don't even need to read that one. There you go. Thank you for outing yourselves as a piece of shit studio you are. Happy Halo devs are groomers month. Probably should have censored that one too. Oh well. Halo team, go back to the roots for the next game. Remember Halo 1, 2, and 3. That's what gamers want. I am looking at some serious heresy. And there you go. Look at that. It's a bloodbath. There's nothing good going on in gaming right now in the AAA space. Indies, meanwhile, are doing very, very well, and it's all a wonderful thing to see. But I don't know why people keep thinking that they're going to actually defeat gamers. Gamers love gaming more than the people who make the games. It's reached that point. It's always been that way, but it has now reached the point where gamers are so dedicated to protecting the industry that we will just refuse to buy games that don't give us what we want. Probably because we've all got massive backlogs. Yeah, I have. Certainly have. Which is why I love it when people get my Steam code and give me games, because I'm like, yeah, thank you very much. These are all rainy days for streams of the future. So I love to see it. But there you go. For now, it's a total bloodbath of AAA, quadruple A, and that's all there is to say about that. So there we go. All right, guys. It is now 1 hour and 12 minutes, 1 hour 15 minutes since the show started, and I have to go, unfortunately. I have appreciated this time I've had with you. I really appreciate all of you for being here, and especially the kind words about me and my family. I know I didn't really set out to start talking about my personal life on this channel, but it is something that I do. It's something that's just sort of comes out of me. It's who I am as a person, and you guys have been just so amazing, wonderful, and supportive, and I appreciate you all so very, very much. Now I'm going to have to go ahead and get the hell out of here, but I will be back in around about 13 hours, just under that, with the boys for WTF Live. I'm pretty damn sure that can happen today. So if you've been around for this one and you've enjoyed it, then please go ahead and pop back later and check that one out. It's always a good laugh. I'm going to go see my little girl, and I'm going to go ahead and figure out what the heck else is going on with news and do my research, make some videos, and I'll be back when I'm back. But until then, I appreciate you all. Special thanks to Just in Time for the super chat there, especially since this stream was completely out of nowhere and no one was prepared for it. And it's also a recycle from a stream that should have happened a week ago. So I understand what's going on with that. I'll be back as soon as I possibly can. But until then, remember, take care of yourselves. Question everything and respect the fans. Thank you for watching HyperDrive Time, and I'll see you in around about 12 to 13 hours for WTF Live. Take care. Here's the outro credits. See you next time.